Do you guys remember the Kenobi show on Disney+? Well, the comic book adaptation is even worse, due to one main reason. The artwork is genuinely terrible. Looking at these images, I'm sure you can guess why they look so bad. Fans in disbelief at Salvador Larroca's lifting still images from Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus show in new comic. Just blatantly tracing over still images from the show, and it produces some of the worst looking comic book art I've ever seen. Comic book fans have long raised eyebrows at Salvador Larroca's work on the Marvel Star Wars line. He's been criticized for taking still images from the movies and tracing them for his comics for a long time. Still, with the new Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi comic adaptation out on stands, something's gone far worse for Star Wars comics, as it looks like the still images are now directly being copy-pasted into panels and then changed slightly in Photoshop. And you can take a look at some more examples here. It is genuinely some of the ugliest shit I've ever seen. During Kieran Gillen's main Star Wars run, fans first started noticing the issue with Salvador Larroca's art in issue number 38. Salvador Larroca clearly took famous still images from The Empire Strikes Back and traced them into panels of the comic. A reader can see in a side-by-side comparison of both Princess Leia and Han Solo that Salvador Larroca grabbed these images and inserted them into the story. And here's an example of both of these. It's so blatant, it's so low effort, it's so lazy. Of course Disney would produce something like this and hire this guy multiple times. Photo references have been standard in art and used by professional comic artists since the dawn of the medium. Still, a professional artist usually takes a little bit of time to make the image his own, which Salvador Larroca didn't do in these Star Wars books. It is up to editorial to notice these errors and, at the very least, fix them for future issues. When fans outcried about the images from Kieran Gillen's Star Wars, nothing was done. Salvador Larroca continued to get Star Wars assignments and nothing seems to change in his process. Classic Disney, constantly hiring the worst people for the job. Look at this artwork. It's insulting to call it artwork, it is genuinely disgusting. Now, in Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi comic written by Jody Houser, Salvador Larroca is back and the image copied from the Disney Plus TV show of Ewan McGregor and others look even worse than the original Star Wars run the artist was criticized for. Some of these panels are so ugly, this whole comic series is so low effort, how Disney had the gall to charge people money for it, it's honestly unbelievable. And this Salvador guy was paid to do this. He was paid to produce this slop. It's an insult to the medium and to real artists. Several panels of Salvador Larroca's art have an uncanny real quality to them, to where it looks beyond a tracing job, but simply copy and pasting an image from Photoshop and putting on a filter to try to blend it in with the comic book art and background colors. Absolutely. You can see more examples of this. It is just pathetic. The colorist on this Obi-Wan Kenobi comic is Phil Noto, who didn't do Salvador Larroca any favors. At least on the older Kieran Gillen Star Wars run, it still looked like matching comic art to the rest of the book. But the comic appears to be even lazier of a job from the already controversial artist. Comic creator and ex-user Vanguard Comic noted the poor job in Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi issue 5. Posting images from the book and saying, from the upcoming comic Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi, we're straight up tracing over scenes from the TV series now. This is absolute dreck. And here are some more examples of the tracing, the awful job done by Salvador. This guy's a complete hack, like most people Disney hire. The creator has his own superhero webcomic, Vanguard, in which he puts meticulous effort into drawing himself, which adds to the offense that Marvel would hire someone on Star Wars to do such a poor job. Fans replied to this image with disbelief, as Disney Star Wars seems to sink to new lows with their inability to pay talent to get someone on books like Star Wars, which deserve to have better quality art. Couldn't agree more. And of course, this is not just on Disney, this is also on the publisher, Marvel. They're the ones releasing these comics. They're the ones hiring these people. It is an absolute joke. It's an insult to art. It's an insult to comic books. It's an insult to Star Wars. And any real artist would be able to look at stills from the show and draw their own version of that and make it look actually good. And what's worse is that the cover art for these issues looks like decent artwork. If the art style throughout the comic was something more akin to what's on the covers, it might actually be a decently made comic. But on top of it still having the awful writing of the show, the artwork is also terrible. Some of these panels are straight up insulting. They make these actors, these characters look so fucking ugly. I would be insulted if I was Reva, if I was Ewan McGregor. Fuck this. This is disgusting. And this isn't exactly new news. This is new to me because I came across the comic. But the fact that this Salvador guy has been called out in the past for his low effort work, and he's still getting more work at Marvel on Star Wars, it just goes to show that these companies, they don't give a fuck about quality and they don't give a fuck about what the fans think at all. They are just gonna churn out slop and try and make a quick buck. And if you pay for something like this, you're a chump. And if you're like me, you don't pay for comics at all, you find other ways to read them. There are certain places you can buy comics, and if you really do appreciate a run, or a writer or an artist, and their work, then of course buying their comics is worth it. But for the majority of what Disney are putting out with Marvel, with Star Wars in these comics, there's no way I would ever pay for any of this shit. What do you guys think? Have you read this comic? It's basically the show, but worse in every way. Let me know what you think of it below. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.